I want to take some time this week to revisit a topic that I've, in a sense, kicked off a few months ago, which when I was looking at what Xbox was bringing to the table in terms of what a gaming company is supposed to be doing, there was no denial that they are dominating right now in their art. In fact, they're dominating not just PlayStation, who people have termed their direct competitor, they're also going to dominate Nintendo when Nintendo arrives on the scene. And that metric is in content and content delivery. Now, some people have sworn that, Xbox games are not of the quality that, they would like to actually see in video games. Now, I've never really questioned any of their motives other than just to say that quality is subjective. But what I've seen, though, is the people that are mostly making this claim are people from the PlayStation side. Now, I remember conversations that I had with some audience members back in the day. One of them said, this whole Xbox thing that they're doing with Game Pass and so on and so forth, what, would probably make me even give Xbox money is possibly if they even bring Indiana Jones, or if we can get Indiana Jones on PlayStation and so on and so forth, then I might even consider it because I prefer The Last of Us and Spider-Man and God of War and all of these other games. And I was like, fair enough, maybe PlayStation players might enjoy Indiana Jones and so on and so forth. Little did I know that this would be the reality. Now, a lot of those people who made those claims and comments, they're kind of quiet now, and it's okay. You see, sometimes perception is the way that this whole thing is done, and PlayStation, is one of those platforms where perception is its primary move. In case of Nintendo, nostalgia is also another aspect to their business, their business plans and stuff like that, which I'm not gonna worry with right now. Let's just stick with what PlayStation is doing and how PlayStation has basically been able to position itself to seem like it's this place to be. All the $300 million, $200 million games that they were making, Marvel Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us, and so on and so forth, these games have already gone forward, but the industry is now demanding what I think is more and more money to push these kinds of games. Xbox, on the other hand, has a really diverse portfolio, one that was forged when they were getting bodied by PlayStation in the console sales. So a classic title like Age of Empires now comes in to serve as a diverse RTS game, positioning itself that gamers can play. And also the talk about the quality kind of blows, is blown out of the window when you see that PlayStation players have put the pre-orders of games like Forza, Indiana Jones, another Forza of the same, edition, and a Doom game coming all the way down next month, as well as the Age of Empires game and the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. These games coming down the road seem to be taking, they're anchoring themselves in this particular ecosystem. What's even crazy, ladies and gentlemen, is that the premium edition of these games, right? The ones that come with DLC or whatever the heck it is. Now, premium edition stuff, man, I'm not a fan of these $100, games. That's something that we're going to talk about later. But the premium edition is what PlayStation consumers are actually pre-ordering more. Look at it right here in front of you. In fact, the reason you don't see Indiana Jones, The Great Circles Premium Edition anymore on here is because that's the edition that came with early access. That edition has already launched, right? So you're just seeing the basic edition, which is still holding down the fort in terms of its, position number 2 right now, right? Now, this might not be the case, and I've said this before on every Xbox game, but I think Xbox's dominance is definitely visualized here. As much as many have claimed that the metric by which people should talk about the gaming industry should be console sales, it's funny that even with console sales, the most important things to gamers is games. Who would have thought? So now here we are, we're having this conversation, we're looking around at what the data is saying, we're thinking and, trying to wrap our minds around it, and the reality stands right in front of us. The so-called talk about quality, Xbox has always been delivering this quality. It's just that the talking heads have tried to either downplay it or mask it. You see, the talking heads are a collective they're not even up to a handful. They're like the nail on a pinky if, say, PlayStation was an entire palm, right? And now what the rest of the collective palm, visualize this with me, raise your palm and look at it. What the rest of the collective palm is saying to that handful of detractors who are basically the tip of the nail of the pinky is that, shut up and sit down. We want to play these games. So people along the line, in terms of the talking heads, like Colin Moriarty's famous Icarus video and Nib95's famous tirades in terms of long texts and such, and those across the board, I think you might need to come back and reconcile what the heck PlayStation players are doing. Why are they being found here in this regard? You have two options. One option is to say that all of these people pre-ordering these Xbox games are a bunch of nitwits and plebs. That means you have to accuse them of engaging in, poor quality games, getting in the mud. That's what they're doing, and you need to call them out. Or you need to recant your position where you've claimed that these Xbox games are not quality games. There's like a chess game, and now you've checkmated yourself, which is very interesting. I mean, it's the effort, to do something like that. It's got to be interesting. But let me tell you what happened, I think, and this is my own opinion. Hubris. This is the kind of thing that I've said again as well, too, to even Xbox fans, that hubris can come and get you. Even those of us on PC, as much as we say, hey, blah, 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 many of us keep a very watchful eye on any platform that's out here. Steam, good old games and such. If they mess around, we have to make sure that we back out with our dollars. And so the hubris is easy to go ahead and catch people. So when PlayStation was busy making third person over the shoulder games that were beautiful, that were nice, that were good looking and all the above, the hubris kicked in. And Xbox wasn't making anything of that nature at the time. So people basically found it convenient to rag on Xbox. What games do they have? What games are even over on the Xbox? Why should I even bother buying an Xbox? And they were just going ahead and, just spouting and talking. And in the spouting and the talking, many of them didn't realize that even though Xbox was not making their third-person over-the-shoulder games, Xbox was making games that seemed to have some level of attractiveness to gamers as a whole. Now, Xbox's mistake, though, was they relegated it to their console, but they had some sense after getting bodied by the console sales, matter. They kind of got a little bit flexible, and they moved it to PC. That's when the whole thing kind of got them thinking, interesting. So gamers may not want our console, but it seems to us they sure do want our games. So what are we going to do? We're going to sell them those games. I mean, let me show you. And you see, this is not necessarily new. PlayStation, fans that have been talking and all that stuff. This is not new, to you. This is not relegated to just you. Even on the PC side, right? When we look very carefully at what PC has been doing in terms of, Xbox games, you can see a trend. Xbox games have been topping charts for a minute. Look at a game like Starfield in 2023. Come down and look at a game like even, after many years of being launched, you see games like Sea of Thieves. You see even Forza 5. Forza 5 launched a while back, and even as far, as recent as 2023, on the PC side, it was bringing in money, was growing players and such. So it's not just you, right? I'm not just sitting here to say I'm picking on, you because of, you find out that. No. I'm just saying that the games apparently have been games that, as crazy as it sounds, gamers liked. So Xbox has now come in with what I think is its most important currency and is dominating with it. This right here is the dominance that they've implemented. PlayStation can sell as many consoles as they want, but PlayStation has to also put up software and games to be able to make its proposition stronger. Because the differential that I'm thinking, and this is just me speculating, is that the moment PlayStation players continue to play these Xbox games and continue to see how not only are they playing these games, but they're made available to Xbox gamers earlier, less expensive, with a lot more benefits in terms of cross entitlements and such, I think they might start thinking otherwise. They may not go buy an Xbox console. However, there's another option that actually does work out for them. You know what it is. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.